The Last Walk. It was a quiet winter morning when 10-year-old Lucy found the puppy shivering beneath a bench outside the village bakery. He was tiny, his fur matted and covered in frost. No collar, no name. Just two terrified eyes staring up at her. "Mom, can we take him home?" she whispered, her mittened hands gently wrapping around his frail body. Her mother hesitated. They weren't looking for a dog. Money was tight. But something in Lucy's voice and something in the puppy's eyes made it impossible to say no. And so, the puppy came home. Lucy named him Shadow, because from that day forward, he followed her everywhere. Shadow and the Seasons. Shadow grew quickly, transforming from a fragile pup into a strong, playful companion. Lucy and Shadow were inseparable. He waited for her outside school every afternoon, tail wagging furiously the moment he saw her. They ran across the fields in spring, played in the stream during summer, and cuddled under blankets in winter. When Lucy cried, Shadow licked away her tears. When she laughed, he barked with joy. Lucy taught him tricks, how to sit, stay, roll over, and play dead. But Shadow seemed to understand more than just commands. He knew when she was sad, tired, or scared. When Lucy's parents argued, Shadow would sit quietly beside her, his presence a silent comfort. He was more than a pet. He was her secret keeper, her guardian, her best friend. Teenage years. As Lucy entered her teenage years, life began to change. School became harder, friends more complicated, but Shadow remained the one constant. When Lucy got her first heartbreak, she ran to the old oak tree near the meadow, and Shadow followed. She cried into his fur for hours, and he stayed perfectly still, offering the kind of love that asked for nothing in return. Lucy started painting, often sketching Shadow in every pose imaginable. Her room was filled with drawings of his watchful eyes, his floppy ears, his ever-loyal stance. He inspired her in ways even she couldn't understand. They grew up together. While she faced the chaos of adolescence, Shadow aged beside her with quiet grace. The world gets bigger. When Lucy turned 18, she got a scholarship to an art college in the city. It was her dream come true, but it meant leaving Shadow behind with her parents. On the day she packed her bags, Shadow paced the room, sensing something was wrong. Lucy knelt in front of him, holding his graying face between her hands. "I'll come back for you, I promise," she whispered. His tail wagged faintly, as if trying to believe her. The first few weeks at college were hard. The city was loud, the people rushed, and the nights too quiet without Shadow's familiar breathing at her bedside. She called home often, asking about him. Her mom said he waited by the door every evening, hoping she'd walk in. Every holiday, Lucy rushed home. Shadow would limp to the door, his eyes lighting up. No matter how slow he got, he always made it to her. The winter that took too much. Years passed. Lucy graduated and moved back home briefly while setting up her own art studio. Shadow was nearly 12 now. His black fur had turned white around the face. His walks were slower, his naps longer. One day, she noticed he wasn't eating. The vet examined him and sighed. His heart is weak, and he's in pain. He may have only a few months. Lucy held back tears. She refused to let his final days be filled with sadness. She created a bucket list for him. They visited the stream one last time. He laid in the grass, letting the cool water touch his paws. She painted his portrait in the sun, capturing every wrinkle, every gray strand. She cooked him real meal chicken, beef, even ice cream. He licked every plate clean. They watched the stars together, like they did when she was a child. The Last Walk. One morning, Shadow stood by the door, looking out at the frosty path leading to the meadow. It had snowed overnight, just like the day they first met. "You want to go?" Lucy asked. He wagged his tail once. She wrapped him in a thick blanket and carried him to the field. The old oak tree stood proudly in the distance. She set him down, and he walked a few steps before lying in the snow. She sat beside him, stroking his head. He rested his head in her lap. His breathing slowed. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." With one final breath, Shadow closed his eyes, and the world seemed to pause. Love that stays. Lucy buried Shadow beneath the oak tree, marking the spot with a carved stone. Here lies Shadow, more than a dog, my heart, my shadow, my forever friend. She visited every week, sometimes bringing flowers, sometimes her sketchbook. She talked to him like he was still there, because in her heart, he always would be. Her paintings of him were displayed in galleries across the country. People asked, "Who is the dog in all your work?" And she would smile, her voice steady but soft. "He was the love of my LFM."